Hai semua. In today's lesson, I would like to focus on the human reproductive system, which is very important concerning the sexual reproduction in the humans. And so sexual reproduction is the creation of new individual or the creation of the offspring by the fusion of gametes. So for the humans, we will start with a male individual here, which will undergo the process of spermatogenesis, in which this diploid male individual will undergo the process of meiosis, and this will produce a haploid male gamete, which is also known as the sperm. Meanwhile, the female individual, which is also diploid, of course, will be undergoing the process of oogenesis, in which meiosis will occur, and this will be producing the haploid female gamete, also known as the egg cell or the ovum. And when the sperm fertilized with the egg or the ovum, this will be producing a diploid zygote, which eventually will develop to become an embryo. Then it will become the fetus, and then it will be born as a baby, and which later will grow into another new adult individual. We will now go to the human reproductive system, and we will focus now to the male reproductive system. We will start with the testis. This will be the reproductive organ or the male gonads, which will be involved in the production of the sperm. And actually the sperm production occurs in tubules over here, known as the seminiferous tubules. So this will be the testis, and there will be many seminiferous tubules inside this organ. And we need to know that one individual normally will be having two testes, one on the right hand side and one on the left hand side. And apart from the testes, there will be some glands and tubules that will be involved. Okay, glands such as the seminal vesicles, which are located behind this urinary bladder, the prostate gland over here, and also the bulbourethral gland, which are also known as the Cowper's gland, will be over here. And these glands are usually involved in secreting liquids and also nutrients for the sperm. And another part that are involved in the male reproductive system will be some tubules, such as the epididymis and also the vas deferens. So over here we can see the epididymis. The sperm that are produced in the seminiferous tubule of the testis will be stored for a while in the epididymis. And when the time comes, the sperm will be moving inside this vas deferens. Along the way, secretions from the vesicles will be added in order to form the semen, which will later on will be flowing through the urethra together with the sperm. We will now focus to the structure of the male gamete or the spermatozoa. We will start with the structure over here, which is known as the head. And in the head, we can see there will be this nucleus, which is haploid. And so we should know that there will be 23 chromosomes inside this normal nucleus. And also located at the tip of the head will be a structure known as the acrosome. So what is an acrosome? It is actually a structure that contains hydrolytic enzymes, in which this will be the type of enzyme that will be able to hydrolyze things that will be surrounding the oocyte or the egg, and this actually helps the sperm to penetrate the egg. In the middle, it will be the middle piece, which actually contains one single mitochondrion. Of course, this particular organelle, the mitochondrion, will be important to provide ATP. And one unique characteristic about this mitochondrion is that it will be spiral in shape. And between the head and the middle piece will be actually the neck, and over here there should be the centrioles for this spermatozoa, and at the end will be the tail over here, the tail of the sperm, in which it is actually a structure that consists of microtubules which are arranged in the pattern of 9+2. And of course, this tail is very important for the movement of the sperm. And sometimes we can also refer this tail as the flagellum. So, if we look at this particular diagram, we can see the head over here, and the darker part of the head will be the nucleus. Okay. Meanwhile, the tip of the head will be the acrosome, and just below the head will be the middle piece, and of course, this one here will be the tail of the sperm, which helps the sperm to swim. Now let's move on to the female reproductive system, in which this consists of the ovaries over here. Normally, one individual female will be having 2 ovaries, one on the right side and one on the left hand side. And inside the ovaries will be many follicles. Okay, there will be many follicles in each ovary, and inside each follicle will be the oocyte, the early egg. And the ovaries are also important because this will be the organ, the sex organ, that will be producing the important female hormones, the estrogens and the progesterone. Then we can see the structure over here, which will be known as the oviduct, also known as the fallopian tube. Okay, the fallopian tube. The oocyte that will be released each month from the ovary will enter into the oviduct, and if there is any fertilization, embryo that is formed will move along the oviduct with the help of cilia on the surface of this oviduct, and the embryo will then move towards the uterus. So the next part will be the uterus, and this is where the embryo and later the fetus will develop. Lining the uterus will be the endometrium, which will become very thick with glands and blood vessels. And finally, the vagina. This will be the part in which the sperm will enter into the female reproductive tract, and this vagina will also become the birth canal for the baby to come out from this female individual. And in between the vagina and the uterus will be the cervix, that will be important during pregnancy. Before the ovum can be formed, the early egg will be known as the oocyte. Initially, there will be this primary oocyte developing inside one follicle, and later on it will grow into a secondary oocyte. So now let's look at the structure of the secondary oocyte. On the outer part of the secondary oocyte will be these granulosa cells, which are actually cells from the follicle, and these cells will also be known as the corona radiata. Okay, right beneath the granulosa cells will be the zona pellucida, which is actually a jelly coat surrounding the plasma membrane of the secondary oocyte. Then it will be the plasma membrane, and inside will be the cytoplasm, which will be having the haploid nucleus, also containing 23 chromosomes for the humans. And in this particular picture, we can see here that this will be the zona pellucida, okay, and the corona radiata will be just outside of the zona pellucida layer. Okay, not very clear in this picture. Okay, and we can see this will be the plasma membrane, and this will be the cytoplasm. And there is another structure over here. This will be known as the first polar body. Okay, this structure over here will actually degenerate later on, and only this cell over here that will develop, okay, for the process of fertilization. If one sperm manage to penetrate this secondary oocyte, this secondary oocyte will then convert into the ovum or the female gamete.